Hello everyone. Today let's discuss desertion as the ground of divorce. First, I'll go forward with the introduction. Then I will be giving out the meaning of the word desertion under Hindu law, and then we'll deal with the essentials of desertion, then types of desertion, then case laws on desertion, and then I'll be concluding my lecture. Marriage is considered to be a sanskara or a sacrament, but it is no more a sanskara. Today, divorce, judicial separation, and nullity of marriage have been recognized. Section 13(1) IB of Hindu Marriage Act states that desertion is a situation where there will be permanent abandonment of a spouse by the other spouse without reasonable cause. Desertion was recognized as a ground for divorce only in the year 1973 when the Hindu Marriage Act was amended. The objectives of this lecture is to understand what is desertion and how do courts in India deal with desertion, that is with respect to interpretation and everything. And then we will also delve upon how effective desertion has become as a ground of divorce. Let us now understand the meaning of the word desertion. So, desertion is a situation where a party will have withdrawn from the company of the other spouse for a period of more than 2 years without assigning a reasonable cause. It is not just focused on physical departure but also absence of intention to return. A couple may have lived together as husband and wife under the same roof, but they will have ceased to cohabit together as a husband and wife and fulfill each other's marital obligation. Such situation can itself mean desertion. Here there will be renunciation of a specified position, that is either as a husband or as a wife. The two essentials of desertion are factum of separation and animus desidendi. Let us suppose that Rahul and Priya got married in the year 2008. Now it is 2022. Now Priya has withdrawn from the company of Rahul and is staying separately since then. It has been 3 years and they have lived separately. And Rahul has tried his best to reconcile with Priya and bring her back to the house. Priya is unable to sort out the issues between both and does not want to live with Rahul as a husband and wife. She withdraws from the company of Rahul and permanently makes it certain that she does not want to return. So, the factum of separation is that it happened during 2022, and the animus desidendi was when Priya was asked to come back to Rahul to go forward with a matrimonial life, but she was not obliging to fulfill her marital obligation towards Rahul. That signifies animus desidendi. Let us now discuss the essentials of desertion. Let us suppose that there is a fruit basket. Inside the fruit basket, there is a banana and an apple. The banana jumps out of the basket and starts living on the floor. She wants to do that permanently without returning to the fruit basket with the apple. Here, the factum of separation is that the banana took the leap of jumping out of the fruit basket. And the animus is that it is stating that it will not reconcile with the apple no matter what and wants to separate from him permanently. In the same illustration, let us suppose that it has been more than 2 years since the banana jumped out of the fruit basket and there is no sign of returning from the side of banana. That implies that desertion requires a cessation of marital cord for a period of more than 2 years. Also, there should be a lack of consent. That is, the act must have been done without the consent of the deserted spouse. Now let us discuss the types of desertion. The first one is actual desertion. Here, the deserting party will have left the matrimonial home permanently without an intention to return. In Durga Prasanna Tripathi versus Arundhati Tripathi, the wife started living separately after 7 months of marriage. It had been more than 7 years since the lapse of marriage, and all the attempts to reconcile the couple failed. The Supreme Court invoked its residuary jurisdiction under Article 142 and Section 13 1IB of Hindu Marriage Act and granted the couple divorce on the ground of desertion. Here, there was no intention of the parties to reconcile and live together as husband and wife, and they wanted to live separately permanently. So, that implies that it was a type of actual desertion. The second type of desertion is constructive desertion. Here, the deserted party will have been compelled to leave the matrimonial home. In desertion, there will be no intention to reconcile. All the measures for reconciliation will have failed, and then only will a couple file for divorce on the ground of desertion. If there is no cohabitation, then desertion cannot exist. In Adhyatma Bhattar Alvar versus Adhyatma Bhattar Sridevi, it was held that factum of separation and animus desidendi are the two essentials of desertion. It is not necessary that both should start simultaneously. It's just that both should exist when a matter before the court is filed on the ground of desertion. There will be cessation of fulfilling of marital obligation by the parties. It need not imply only physical departure. Let us discuss the case laws regarding desertion. The first one is Bipin Chandra Jaisingh by Shah versus Prabhavati. Here, the ratio that emerged was that mere physical separation is not enough. There must be intention to desert. Let me illustrate. In the fruit analogy that I gave, let us suppose that in the middle of the fruit basket there emerged a crack that compelled both apple and banana to live separately. Here, the physical separation was there, but it was not coupled with intention to desert, and thus that would not amount to desertion. In Rita Nijavan versus Balkrishna Nijavan, the concept of constructive desertion was dealt exclusively by the Supreme Court. It was held that desertion, that is, constructive desertion, was not recognized under the Hindu Marriage Act. It was just the actual desertion that was recognized. Even if the word constructive desertion finds a place in the present laws, then it is necessary to prove the mental element. In Lachman Uttamchand Kriplani versus Meena, it was held that desertion without reasonable cause, without consent, or against the other spouse would amount to a situation of desertion, that is, actual desertion. And it also stated that the burden of proof lies on the petitioner who alleges desertion. It is very difficult to prove desertion as the facts and circumstances are different in each case, and there cannot be any straitjacket formula to make one understand what does one mean when they say desertion. I would like to conclude by stating that the two elements of desertion are factum of separation and animus desidendi. The evidence is dependent on preponderance of probabilities. The outcome of the case is dependent on facts and circumstances of each case. If one of the spouse starts living separately for more than 2 years, then that signifies factum of separation. In the same example, if the deserted spouse signifies that she does not want to return even after numerous notices, then that implies animus. The criticisms with respect to desertion are: first, there is a trend of no fault divorce today. Desertion makes the litigation prolong for years because it is more or less like blaming each other. Also, it is very difficult to prove the intention to desert. Moreover, desertion is always coupled with cruelty as a ground. Desertion per se will fail because it is not a very valid ground for claiming divorce under the Hindu Marriage Act as of today. Thank you for listening to my lecture on desertion.